Welcome to this Google Drive screencast where we're taking a look at how to store and share files. Specifically in this screencast, we're going to take a look at how to directly share files to others. So here I am in Google Drive. Before I jump into a file and show how to share it, I want to show a shortcut. If you're working in Google Drive and you want to share a file, you can checkbox any file and come up here to the little person with the plus. This is the share button. The reason I point this out is you can actually share multiple files at the same time. If I checked all these and I wanted to share this to my teammate, I could come up here, click plus, and all 5 of those files that would happen to all that at once. I show that as a shortcut just before I go in and show how to actually share, just so you kind of get that the checkboxes help you out when you're sharing a bunch of files at one time. Let's open a file up. And when we're doing this here in this example, we're looking at how to directly share a file to others. So I've been working in this document. Let's say this was a document that I wanted to directly share to a teammate. I would come up here to the share button, and before I click on share, I'm going to point out when you mouse over this, this shows the rights of the file. So currently this file is private only to me, and it says that only I have access. By default, Google Drive files are private unless your district or your organization has set it up where they're not private. So that's something just to be aware of, that the files should be private until you choose to share them. Click on the blue share button, and this is the share settings box. This gives me the link for the document. We'll use that more in the next example. The who has access is set to private, like I said, and we'll show in the next screencast how you can actually change that to kind of get people to your file. Currently, I am the owner of the file. A file can only have one owner, but you can add others on by using the invite people down here. So this is what I call the direct share. So if I come down here and I start typing a teammate's name, and you notice there I typed this person's last name. Because I was going to add my teammate, I chose to type her last name so her name would come up quicker, because I know she's already in my address book. If I were to type her first name, which is Michelle, very common name, I'm going to get a bunch of different Michelles that I have to pick from. So I like to, and I give as a tip, type the person's last name. It'll come up a lot quicker. So I start typing her name comes up, you can click on it. That person's email or Google address does have to be in this box for the sharing to work, for it to be shared to that person. You can add more than one person in here, so you notice that automatically put a comma there. If I wanted to start typing my next teammate, and I can click and add that. So I could choose to keep typing in names, adding individuals. A good tip is in Google Mail, in Gmail, you can make a contact group. And if the contact group was for the language arts department, if I called it LA department, I could type LA department and then it would automatically fill anyone that's a part of that group. There's also Google Groups, which is a great way to distribute files on a mass scale. And we'll put together a video later that shows how to use Google Groups. So you got to put your people in first. Next thing you have to decide is what rights should those people have. So as we said, there's only one owner. So when you click on this, you can decide if those people should be editors of this file, which means they can make changes to it. Comment means they can only put comment bubbles along the side of the document. Or viewers, which means they can only view, they really can't interact with the document. So if these were my teammates and I wanted them to add some things in here, I would choose edit. And then the third thing is, by default, this is checked to notify people via email. That means they'll get an email message with the link right to the document. You can uncheck that if you want. I choose to leave it checked. And most times I'll click add message, and this will also send them a little personalized message. Say, here's, where we can put our notes. And so I'll typically send the message. If I'm working with students, or if you're a teacher that's working with students and they're going to all share their files to you directly, I would tell students to uncheck this so you don't get 30 of the same message. That's just a good classroom management strategy. In fact, I'll uncheck for this example here. Click share and save. If you don't send emails, you'll get this message that says you're not sending any emails. That's fine. What has to happen then is those users, you have to tell them to go into their shared with me area to find the file. So I'm going to click OK, and they're added on as editors. If I ever need to change their rights for any reason, I can always come back into the share box. I could delete them by clicking the X. This will delete them off the file. Or I could come back in here and I could change the rights for maybe if I want them to be an editor for a little while and then move them down to a viewer. Your choice there. Whoever's the owner controls that. So let's click done. So now if I mouse over this, it says it's still private. This is still a private file. It's just private between me and 2 other people. So that is how you directly share files to others. If you're receiving a shared file when you're in your Google Drive, you can go into the shared with me area, and in the shared with me area, If you click on share date, so it's red, this organizes any of the newest files to the top of this list. So if somebody says, oh, I shared that file to you, and you didn't get an email, you can come into shared with me, make sure you clicked on the share date, and that file should be up here at the top, one of the topmost files. So that's a little bit with directly sharing. In the next screencast, we'll show you how to do some sharing in different ways. Thanks for watching.